and the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and it is Saturday, and you know what that means. It's time for all the toy news, action figure news of the week that interested me, that hopefully interests you, and I am just off the road, about 6 hours on the road to get home from Chicago. Got to see the Stray Kids. Shout out to everybody I saw at the Stray Kids concert. Good to see so many fans out there. What, Todd McFarlane? Oh yeah, you're right. I didn't see anybody that I knew at the Stray Kids concert. It was unbelievable. I don't even know how to explain it. I spent most of the time navigating my phone and editing some videos, editing some content and stuff for the YouTube channel. But my daughters loved it. They loved it. So did go to Chicago, went to the Stray Kids. Quite the scene. I'm sure you'll see a little bit of that in my future toy videos. But the kids loved it, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. But I just got off the road, just got home from a 6-hour drive. Now I'm diving into some toy news videos. Check out yesterday's video with the Mattel reveals. I will talk a lot of wrestling in this video, but no Mattel. That is a separate video. But this is an absolute gigantic toy news this week. So many things from so many different toy lines as we're gearing up to San Diego Comic-Con. There is a lot to dissect, a lot to dive into. We even have a reporter, boots on the ground, Gulf Shores, Alabama. Shout out to Chris. We'll get to that here in the Power Town segment. We're cracking Power Town mysteries. Somebody's got to do it, and this channel's getting down to the hard coverage with the investigative journalism. More on that later in this video here. But of course, got to thank Jay'sToysAndGames.com for sponsoring this YouTube channel, sponsoring this video here today. Use discount code Kyle, save yourself 15%. Got to get a deal out there. I actually was just there picking up some G.I. Joe. I got Footloose. Oh, everybody cut loose, Footloose. But they have a lot of stuff that just came in stock, even wrestling stuff. They got a ton of Jacob Fatu's over there, so if you're after him, he will be on their website shortly, and you can use my code to save 15%. But so many things over there at Jay's Toys and Games. Got to give them a shout out, and I got to appreciate them sponsoring the YouTube channel here today. Of course, before we get to the toy news too, want to plug the Patreon. End of June, last chance for giveaways. I did just put up the latest Q&A, a little tough talk, a little real talk in that Q&A. Talked a little business talk, a little deeper business talk than I would talk on normal YouTube, but I will talk it for the Patreon exclusive videos. So check out that Q&A for you Patreon members. I just put that video up yesterday, but a lot going over on Patreon. The giveaway this month, of course, Maya Via Family 3-pack and the Evolution 3-pack. So these will go to one lucky Patreon member. They will get both of these packs. So shout out to everybody over on the Patreon. Appreciate all the support over there. Of course, they get all the videos early, all the early access, all the glamour shots, you name it. Everything goes on over there at the Patreon from both of my YouTube channels. They also get early access to my podcast, The Kyle Peterson Show, every single Tuesday wherever podcasts are found. And then, of course, video cast on YouTube. Did have to film the video early this week, or the audio podcast, audio and video part of the podcast. Had to film that early this week because I was going to Chicago, but we dive into that one a little bit. We do some heaviness with some survivor guilt. You ever heard of survivor guilt? I break into that a little bit. We break down a new Dorito, a patriotic Dorito, if that is such a thing. And we dive into a lot more stuff in a 4th of July special with my wife and I. Check out the Kyle Peterson Show right now on, of course, YouTube channel memberships and Patreon Tuesday for everyone else. So appreciate all the support out there. Make sure you give it a 5-star review, all that kind of fun stuff. But that is the housekeeping right there. Once again, Mattel news in a separate video. Make sure you check that out on my channel. We dive into all the Mattel reveals going on right now. But let's kick it off with Jazwares. We did Mattel yesterday. We'll talk a little Jazwares. FTR, we talked about it last week. Already got my shipping notice. I'll have that next week. Jazwares Vault is where you go to get that one. Ringside Collectibles, tons of the Jazwares Vault stuff over there right now. You can take advantage of the discount code Kyle, save 10% if you're after some of those Vault things. Jazwares Vault seems no way of slowing down. Hopefully that Sting pack goes up very soon, among many other things. We will have a San Diego Comic-Con from Jazwares exclusive. Not sure what that's going to be yet. Hopefully they announce that. I remember the Brody Lee from 3, 4, 5 years ago, What Is Time? That wasn't announced before the show. They kind of was a surprise at the show. So it'd be interesting if they go that route. I don't think they will. I think we'll find out maybe a week before showtime. We'll see what happens there. But a lot going on with Jazwares as usual. A lot of people saying, what's going on? What's going on? Well, the big news is coming. They're going to be at All In. And then, of course, San Diego Comic-Con. So there's going to be a lot of announcements, a lot of news, some major things coming out of that. So we'll cover it all on the channel as we usually do. But All In is what, the 12th? I want to say the 12th of July. So that'll start it off. And then, of course, San Diego Comic-Con a couple of weeks after that. So it should be a good month of July for Jazwares fans. Stay tuned. That's what I'm going to say there. But now we got a massive Power Town update.
Are you ready for pain? Are you ready for suffering?
I know, no update once again, kinda, but I got some updates here in this video. But unfortunately, Power Town's still very quiet, and it just irks me. I don't know why it does. It irks me a lot, and it irks a lot of you guys and you gals out there. Oh, you gals, your nails on a chalkboard. You're so mad about it. But they just don't update their website. It, of course, says shipping in April, but there was that message that went out everywhere but their website to say, hang tight, it's all coming. We're shipping in the summertime, but it still shows April on their website. So the people that didn't get that, missed that, they're like, what's going on? What's going on? I hear about it every single day. We see it on social media about every single day. We'll just keep our fingers crossed, maybe. I don't know if that's a good idea at this point, but it is officially summer. Last weekend started summer. Where are we? Where's our figures? Well, summer's got a long way to go and a short time to get there, like one Jerry Reed. We'll get to him later, I'm sure. But we haven't seen anything. No updates, no nothing, keeping us abreast. No images. That's the thing Power Town could do to really save some face right now. They are down as far as you can be. But why couldn't they at least show some images of these TNA figures, the Ultra Series 2? Even more Remco pictures would be great at this point. It just leads me to believe that nothing has been taken and nothing has been produced. I don't know how they're not to stoking the flames and getting everybody hyped and excited for stuff, carrying us along the way. It just boggles my mind, and we talk about it every single week. Some people love it for good or for bad. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to keep bringing it up because a lot of us, myself included, have a lot of money on the line. No, I do hear from the comments. I get stuff and I get messages from people all the time. Well, what about Zombie Sailor and the Sandman? I mean, the Sandman's been about a year now. We've been waiting for that one. But once again, Zombie has given updates about this. There was a snafu at the factory. He did not want to send us garbage. He said, I'm canceling it. We're scrapping those figures. We're coming back out with them. So kudos for Zombie for being open and honest. And I think everybody should understand, no matter what action figure, what line of anything in the world, mistakes happen. Anything that's manufactured, delays happen. But it's how you send those delays to your customer base is what really matters. That's what matters in all this. We know we'll get the figures, and I truly expect us to get the Power Town figures. Maybe that's me always looking on the positive side of things. I truly believe we will see these figures one day. I don't know if it's going to be this year, but I think we will see these one of these days. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed and the toes, and Todd's got his toes crossed as well, as we do know. But it's all in the communication. And like I said, Zombie Sailor gets a lot of grief. I had somebody just today saying, what's up with the major bendies, big rubber guys? Rock and Roll Express should have been here by now. Well, they've told there is delays. But one thing about the big rubber guys, it always feels like about every single month, there's something coming. There's always something coming out of them. So it's, there's a joke in there somewhere. But it doesn't feel like they've just disappeared and dropped off the face of the earth like Power Town does. And that's my personal opinion once again. A lot of people bringing up the Asylum toys, and I don't give them as hard of a time because I didn't pre-order these. This is a very niche product. Series 1 was all right. I didn't mind Series 1, but there was delays over there too. But not as many people are tied up and invested monetarily wise in Asylum as Power Town. But Asylum has been on the clock longer than Power Town, if you can believe that. But I will say, if you do reach out to Asylum, they will get right back to you. They'll give you your money back. They'll do whatever you want. So once again, they're transparent. You can get a hold of them. You can see it. You can find out what's going on. You at least get some kind of update. That makes me feel better as a consumer. But when you're flapping in the wind, nobody wants to be flapping in the wind. But if you are, you feel a little bit naked. And that's where we are with Power Town right now. Now, we do know there's some movement on Power Town. A lot of us, myself included, have been getting emails from the Wrestling Collection. And I've talked about these guys going back to the beginnings of Power Town. It's very interesting that everything Power Town comes out of Gulf Shores, Alabama. Shout out to Gulf Shores, Alabama. Beautiful this time of year. But the Wrestling Collection is also out of there. So I'm always putting that conspiracy hat on. You got Relatively Worldwide. You got Power Town. You got Boomerang now. You got the wrestling collection. Are these all in a circle of trust? Are they all together as one company? What is going on right now? I'm not exactly sure, but the wrestling collection has been sending out all these emails. We got a fire sale on Powertown. We got a fire sale on Powertown coins. Take them to the casino. That's what I would do. And they are shipping the Powertown figures out of there. So you can buy these at a discount. So what is going on here? Why the fire sale? Are they trying to drum up money for the other stuff? Are they related to Powertown? What is going on out there? It is a true mystery. But that's where the investigative reporting comes in. Longtime viewer of the channel, we'll just call him CR. We got to keep his name identification secret. We don't need people coming after this guy here. But he might live in Gulf Shores, Alabama. And he might have reached out to me and said, this is only a few miles away from my house. Do you want me to go there, boots on the ground, and send video to you? And I said, are you kidding me? Of course I do. Todd McFarlane, roll the footage.
All right, Kyle, we're coming here from the wrestling collection. It looks like we have some empty United States Postal Service boxes, cameras everywhere. But to me, this place is not open. I don't see a Powertown figure anywhere.
Now you can see from this footage, and once again, shout out to CR out there. Good Metal Brother CR, checking things out. He did say that they basically kicked him off the property there. All of a sudden, the intercom came up and said, hey, this is not a retail store. Get out of here, skedaddle. And I don't know if they said those nicer words, but he had to leave the premise. And then he went one step further and got in contact with them and said, what is going on here? What is happening? And they said they are not owned by Powertown. They are just their fulfillment partner. And they are also wondering what's going on, but they said, hey, new product is supposed to be coming as far as they know, and they will ship it out when they do get it. They are not a retail store. However, if you want to pick some stuff up at the door, they will let you do that. So I'm glad they actually answered, but very creepy that it was like really something out of a Powertown conspiracy where the intercom came on him and they kicked him off the property there. But it isn't a retail store, so we now know the location Powertown ships from. We know the place. So it is a real place. I had a wondering and a suspicion that maybe it was going to be like a P.O. box or like just a mailbox somewhere with nothing attained to it. So there is a warehouse there. So that is a good thing. And I got to thank our friend there who lives right by there. So that really helped out. Small world after all, we'll say. But man, oh man, the Powertown stuff just keeps on grinding. And as the Saved by the Bell kids once said,
dumb.
Stupid.
Crazy.
And once again, the gang sums it up pretty good for Powertown. So man, oh man, fingers continue to be crossed. Hopefully an update could come any day now. It is summer after all, and we paid shipping. I expect Remco to be shipped separately, TNA shipped separately, Ultras shipped separately. Yeah, I don't know if that'll happen, but no matter how I get them, I'll just be happy to be done with this. But man, Powertown's going to have some work to do to get back on the collectors. As we've said on the channel a time or two, Todd, you even took this to one of your board meetings one time. You lose a customer a loaf at a time, you get them back a slice at a time. And I think at this point, it's going to be very hard for Powertown to even get somebody to buy the heel of the loaf of bread. So more at 11. We'll keep you updated on the channel, of course. But we got other wrestling news to talk about this week. Figure collections, our friend over there, use discount code Kyle, save yourself 10%, of course. Figure collections, Hardy Mania. It's a Hardy party is what it is. 2 different sets of the Hardy Boys, and then you got Chase variants on top of that. So we get the Bone Cruncher edition of the Hardy Boys. Really feels like something we needed back in the day, and we get 2 separate sets of those. We also get 2 separate sets of retro style figures of the Hardy Boys. So it's all coming up Hardys, as we know. Man, it's a lot though. July is an extremely expensive month. Probably the most expensive month of the year for action figure collectors with all new releases, Walmart, Target resets, restock with new items, and then you throw San Diego Comic-Con in the mix. It is an expensive month for a lot of those collectors. Then you throw in, saving for back to school for the kids and any kind of summer vacations you want to have. It is a very difficult time to spend a lot of money. So things like this, you got to look at and say, okay, do I play the long game? What do I do? You got to hedge your bets. Is it going to sell out right away? Could I possibly pick these up down the road in September, October? Maybe that's what we'll have to do here. So we'll end up staying with this one. I definitely need 1 each. I really want all 4, but as of right now, I'm leaning towards picking my favorite between the 2. we'll see what happens there. But the Hardys, if you're a big fan, and there's a lot of Hardy fans out there, you got some new figures around the bend here looking pretty good. But now we go to our friends over there at Grapplers and Gimmicks. Mitch never taking any time off, it seems like. Jake the Snake the Roberts once again coming to Grapplers and Gimmicks. This time as a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, and possibly my all-time favorite gear for Jake the Snake Roberts. I think we're going to have 4 Jake retro figures from Grapplers and Gimmicks. Absolutely wild, but man, going to look really good. The San Diego Comic-Con one would be very interesting. I did see in the comments, unfortunately, Grapplers and Gimmicks is not going to be at San Diego Comic-Con, so it's an exclusive that you're just going to order off his website, basically around that time frame. So we've seen that before from Zombie and others as well, and now we're going to see it with Jake the Snake. But he also gave us some updates on Rick Martel and Santa. Of course, both of those we knew previously coming to the Grapplers and Gimmicks line. I'm very excited for both of these ones. Santa, not wrestling, but just feels like he could fit in with wrestling. Now, we've had Santa Stone Cold, you've had Santa McFarlane. This feels like it could work along the way. So very cool to see those two coming. And then his announcement of a new character this week, Muhammad Hassan. So his name's kind of bubbled back up with the Dark Side of the Ring episode 4 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago. What is time, as we always say. But we do got him coming to the retro line. It'll be interesting to see how that one sells. It's a weird thing, as we've talked about it before, the Ruthless Aggression era, it just doesn't get the praise that, you know, the 80s, 70s, 90s eras get, for good or for bad. You want to believe there's a whole generation out there that absolutely loves that era, but you go to KWK, who we'll just talk about in a little bit here. La Resistance, I think, was probably one of their worst sellers out of the bunch. So I don't know if we just haven't hit that time of where people are really fond of the Ruthless Aggression era, or could it quite possibly be that time is never really going to happen? You know, you got the John Cena's, the Kurt Angles, kind of that mix, and Kurt was before that, of course. But guys like La Resistance, excuse me, the Muhammad Hassans of the world, are they ever going to catch fire? Is there ever going to be somebody longing for those like the Iron Sheik? I don't know. My gut says no, but we'll see what happens there. So Grapplers and Gimmicks always turning and burning, as we know. We'll be reviewing them on the channel here. But now Ty McFarlane from the couch, good friend, he's been quiet today. We popped the collar in unison, of course, as we dive into KWK and Club KWK, a new service where it's invite only. It's a party, of course, over there at KWK, where he's got some extremely limited items, and it's invite only. So not everybody had a chance to even purchase these if they want to. You know, I'm popping my collar. You know, I'm in over there. I love rare stuff, but rare stuff's really not for me. I don't know what it is about me, and everybody collects differently, but super rare stuff, it's great to have if I can find it, if you get it on a deal or whatever. But I like some of the mass-produced stuff more than I even like some of the rare stuff. I mean, that's just me personally. I don't get too worked up about it, like a 1 of 5 and stuff. And he sold those, and he sold them out very quickly, and people were mad they didn't get the 1 of 5. So there is a market for that stuff. It may be you, and maybe it's not me. Now, that being said, I would love any Ultimate Warrior 1 of 5 or stuff like that. I love the Ultimate Warrior, but there's a lot of people that just collect prototypes. There's a lot of people. There's all kinds of collectors, as we do know. And this is a niche for KWK, and apparently it's working, as they sold all the 1 of 5s out. 1 of 22 Max Moon still available. They have a few. I don't think they have all 22 still left. But if you're a member of Club KWK, you have a chance to get in there. So we'll see how that goes with the ebbs and flows, as he just started this club. A lot of figures to come in the future for this Club KWK. I even got tipped off to something that I was extremely excited about. I hope it's not too expensive. I hope it's not too rare, because it's something I definitely need in my collection that I never anticipated I would ever have a chance to get. So I'm very excited about this figure. We'll see if that happens in the future. We'll just stay tuned and wait, I guess is what we'll do. But also KWK has the Max Moon editions, and apparently KWK himself has sold out of all the red Max Moon. So you're stuck to the distributors that he sells to, the Asylums, the J&J, and so forth. So if you want one of those, if they have them, that's going to be the place to get, except if you have to go to eBay in the future. So there you go, Club KWK, popping the collar like a young Club Grayskull on the move over there. But we're not done with retro stuff. We're looking at Zombie Sailor this week, and on my birthday, coincidence? Yeah, probably. June 25th. Hey! June 25th, Bruce Lee Day for Zombie Sailor Toys. Re-released a past Bruce Lee figure, so I have that. Don't need that one. And then we got 2 new Bruce Lee figures going. As of filming, I have not ordered these. I don't know what to do at this point. I want to collect all the wrestlers. I just don't need that many Bruce Lees. I respect Bruce Lee, but he's not my all-time favorite, that's for sure. So I don't know if I need all these Bruce Lees in my collection. And it's like some of these other lines, you know, they start growing, they start adding, and they start diving away from wrestling. I want to be a completist. I don't know. Major Bendy's perfect example with the big rubber guys, with the John Rambo, of course, Rambo, Sylvester Stallone, and the Jean-Claude Van Damme figure. I did pick those two up, but we'll see where things go in the future. If they start getting other properties, other licenses, these are expensive figures. You can only collect so much. I'm definitely getting the wrestling stuff, but if they get properties outside of that, especially if it's deep outside of my fan base, well, money's tight. Money's tight. You can't get everything, that's for sure. So we'll see. I would love to be a completist. I just don't know if it's going to be possible. We'll see with Zombie Sailor, KWK, all these other ones. We'll see where they go in the future. But we did see 3 Bruce Lees. So if you're into Bruce Lee, if you want to enter the dragon personally, and Todd, you've been riding the dragon, and it's been dangerous, that's for sure. You check out Zombie Sailor, of course. And then we did see this week Abdullah the Butcher shown off his Pinnacle Edition. The packaging art or packaging style reminds me a heck of a lot of these new Super 7 Deluxe editions. So looking very, very nice on these. I think these are going to be a slam dunk figure. I just want to know when we're going to get these. I am very nervous. I haven't talked about it too much. I've talked about it a few times. I'm going to bring it up once again. We were asked to pre-order them because of the tariffs, Todd McFarlane. I call them tariffs. Todd McFarlane calls them tariffs, of course. He said, I'm pulling pre-orders. This is your last chance to pre-order. So I had my pre-order in. Nobody else can pre-order. They're supposed to ship at the end of this year, but now has he hit minimum requirements because he stopped the pre-order so soon? Long way to get there. Is Zombie Sailor just sitting on my money and your money, possibly, if you ordered these? I want these figures, but I don't want him sitting on my money for 2 years and say, well, because of the tariffs, we delayed production, all this kind of stuff. They're not coming in the fall, winter of 2025 anymore. They're coming fall, winter of 2026. Well, then you just sat on my money for 2 years. What's going on there? Now, if I still get these in the end of the year and I get them first before the people that are going to pre-order when he opens it back up, I'm okay with that. That makes sense. Hey, I got in early. I got first dibs on the figures, whatever. I want to support these companies, so I have no problems in this instance diving into that to help this along. But I am just a little bit worried that when will these get reopened and will it hit the MOQ once it does? There's a lot of kind of certainty going around. A cloud of confusion is what we'll call it, going around that one. So hoping we see these by the end of the year. We're going to keep our fingers crossed as well, but I can't wait to get this Abdullah. He looks very, very good there. And then one we don't talk about a whole lot here, Rush Collectibles getting back in the wrestling game here. I know it. Rush Collectibles started by one Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson. I thought ever since Neil died, I thought that was a really cool thing, how they diverged all their musical stuff they were doing into wrestling figures, monster action figures and stuff. So shout out the boys up there in Rush. Check out YYZ. I'm going to fly up there too to that airport. We're going to have a great time there with, of course, Geddy and Alex. What? Todd McFarlane, what? As a fellow Canadian, yes, I know. Oh, it's not. Oh, okay. Apparently, Rush, Alex and Geddy have nothing to do with Rush Collectibles. None? Nothing? Nothing. They aren't even like a silent owner or anything, huh? Wow, who would have thought? I always thought that was kind of the thing, but I guess not. But Rush Collectibles back at it in the wrestling world. Wildcat Chris Harris coming in extra wild, and you can't have a Wildcat without a cowboy, James Storm. So Most Wanted rides again, of course. I don't know. It's going to be tough. We always talk about it. You lose them a loaf at a time. You get them back a slice at a time. There's a million people like that with Rush Collectibles. A million? Yeah, I know. I'm exaggerating. But there's a lot of people with that there. However, I did unbox that monster figure. It was pretty solid. So we're going to see. It's a new era for Rush Collectibles. But have you lost the consumer? That's the dangerous thing. We always talk about it there. So we'll see how these two end up going. They look okay. I think they look really good. Definitely improvement, as we say on the channel. Constant learning, constant improvement. We see that here with these figures. I'm still not totally sold around the ab department on these. Would have to see them in hand, though. But they do look better than the prior wrestling releases. So as I said, constant learning, constant improvement right there. We'll see where that ends up going in the future. So stay tuned to that, of course. And then, of course, last but not least, Ringside Collectibles 4th of July sale going on right now. Use code Kyle, save yourself an extra 10%. But that's not it. As Jerry Reed always says, no, Jerry Reed gets really wordy, much like myself, but there's a lot to talk about here today as we're ramping up to San Diego Comic-Con. Got plenty of more news to dive into, but we're done with wrestling. For those that care or don't care, whatever it may be, we're diving into a little He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. We're going to Mattel Creations. Of course, we got another pre-order next week, and I hope it ships as fast as a lot of this creation stuff has been shipping. But next Friday, this coming Friday, the Fright Zone finally makes an appearance. I'm excited about this one. Where am I going to put it? Not so sure. I guess that's a problem for future Kyle, but future Kyle could be about 2 weeks away. We'll see what happens there. But the Fright Zone coming soon, and it'll be interesting to see, like I said, if it ships right away. But it is coming to Mattel Creations. Looks like it's under $100 too, so that'll be nice. Probably $100 shipped is probably what it'll end up being. But a lot of people want that one. I never had the OG Fright Zone, so it should be pretty cool to see this one here. But it will be on Mattel Creations Friday, as well as other retailers, it sounds like, as well. So it's not a Creation exclusive. You don't have to be a member of the club and pop your collar to get this coming this Friday. So stay tuned for that. San Diego Comic-Con, we finally got another announcement here. Mattel announced John Cena officially this week. They also announced Turtles of Grayskull, Skeletor/Shredder, and Throne. So I guess they're putting the cherry on the top of this one. This is the final Turtles of Grayskull figure, I guess. I thought it was going to be the Foot Soldier King Hiss hybrid we unboxed months ago on the channel. Apparently we got one more here. Doesn't light my world on fire. It looks cool, but the Turtles of Grayskull never really lit my life on fire as far as collecting. I liked it. It just felt a little uneven. I have very high hopes for the Thundercat stuff here in the next couple of weeks. So we'll see how that ends up going there. But that is the exclusive for San Diego Comic-Con. There's a lot more exclusives I have to think to be announced here shortly in the next weeks to come. We'll cover it on the channel as well. And last but certainly not least for, of course, Masters of the Universe, we're going to our friends at Mondo. Mondo, a lot of delays lately. Let's get some product out there. They keep taking my money, and it's expensive money that they're taking. But it looks like next week, going up for pre-order, Mondo Manny Faces. Man, oh man, that's a tough one to skip out on, and I'm not going to skip out on it. Love Manny Faces as a kid, one of my all-time favorites. Can't wait to see what this one looks like, but it is coming up for pre-order next week. So once again, our wallets weep here in July. Can't wait to see it. And speaking of wallets weeping, Yojo June going out with a whimper. Nothing really this week. Pretty dead for Yojo June. Very unfortunate, especially my birthday month. Would have liked to seen a big party here, but it's just the way it goes, unfortunately. But Yojo June is going to end on June 30th with the official HasLab reveal of the Snowcat. I believe, we'll have 30 days to back that thing. We'll get to see it at San Diego Comic-Con, of course. I'm sure it'll fun. I'm sure there'll be no issues. Going to be interested to see what the extra tiers are. You got to think maybe another snow job. Would love to see Blizzard involved in this. And of course, you got to see Frostbite, the driver. Be very interested to see where this one goes in the future. Could we even get some Cobra Winter Soldiers mixed in here? I guess we'll see. All will be revealed next week, and we'll have a month to pre-order. You know me, I like to wait till the very end to pre-order these things. I don't want to have my money out there longer than I really have to, and especially in an expensive month like July. I got to pay for my wife going to Philadelphia with her family for a week. I'm, of course, going to San Diego Comic-Con, and all points in between. There's a lot going on. Of course, there's Korean pop music to go to. There's a lot of K-pop concerts my kids want to go to, and I'm just a softie, a sucker. I can never say no, and I need to learn to say no is what I need to do. But we got a lot of that stuff going, so it's going to be a very busy July. And I should mention, good friend of the channel, Midwest professional wrestling legend, Gage Octane. Yes, that Gage Octane. You're right. He did beat Perry Saturn a couple times. I was there in the audience for that one. And of course, yes, he was trained by Dory Funk Jr. and Harley Race for a time. He will be my guest co-host on my podcast while my wife is gone. So shout out to Gage Octane. It's going to be an all-timer. Stay tuned for that in July. Trying to get my dad to do an episode of the podcast as well, but he said his dog's nails grow so fast and he's got to trim those things. So he'd rather be doing that than the podcast. Unfortunately for me, we'll see. I'm going to try to get him. We'll see what happens there. But another unfortunate event this week here, and I talked about this, speaking of the podcast, in the video that is up on Patreon, but will be up here on Tuesday. It's about survivor guilt. You guys know about survivor guilt. You feel guilty every time you watch Survivor on CBS, and that's a different kind of guilt, I guess, Todd McFarlane. But it's where, maybe somebody died, like maybe you're in a car accident and you lived and somebody else died, or more likely, maybe you were at a job and everybody got laid off but you. And I've had that quite a few times in my life. Just recently going through that this week, and I talk about it on the podcast. I really bring that place down in the podcast. I bring the fun level was up here, and it went down here by the time that one was there, because we got deep, we got philosophical over there. But it's interesting. It ties in with this next bit of news. Check out the podcast next week. Long story short, Ryan Ting of Marvel Legends, of course, Dan, Dwight, and Ryan, the Marvel Legend 3 for so many years. A beautiful team over there. Hasbro, we talked about it last week with all their job cuts. Unfortunately, Ryan was one of those. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but that's usually how it goes with business. There's always, there's the story that's out there. Yeah, it sucks. We all love Ryan, all this, but what was the reason? I don't know. Nobody knows unless you were there. I'm sure Ryan knows. Maybe, hopefully he knows. But it does suck. A lot of good people have lost their job in the toy industry lately. And I tell you what, I think we're going to see more of this. I hate to be that guy. I talked about it. I was on that panel at Des Moines Con a couple of weeks ago. I was the guy that brought the mood down in the room. That's all I am. I'm the mood killer is what I do. But I don't see kids buying toys in the future like we do, or we did, or even younger than me did. It's just not happening anymore. I see it. I ask these kids, I poll these kids at these elementary schools, even junior highs, because guess what? I have a kid in elementary school and I have a kid in junior high. None of these kids are collecting toys. They're playing on their iPads. They're doing dumb things. I'm calling it dumb because I'm a toy guy. But they're playing games. They're doing that kind of stuff. Toys just aren't that. They don't resonate. And unfortunately, with all these companies, Todd, yours too, take notes right now, Todd. There's just not people buying it. And eventually I'm going to die. It's true. It's going to happen. It could happen any day. You never know. I might be hit by a bus tomorrow. There's just, I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. I just don't know. I mean, at one time, there was people that loved to collect antique china plates. Where are those people now? They're still out there, but they're few and far between. Grandma had her fine china she was going to pass down to you, and you took it immediately to the Goodwill. How dare you? But that's what we're dealing with. That's what we're dealing with our toys here in the future. So love them while you have them. You can't have them forever. But I just wonder what the future holds for our beautiful toys, our beautiful toy industry. And we're seeing a lot of cutbacks here, but we're seeing cutbacks in other industries as well. More automation, more AI stuff getting involved. It's only going to go up from there. If a company can save some bucks, we've seen it with Hasbro and Super 7 in artwork. If they can save some bucks on AI, you know they're going to do it. If they can save some AI on speeches and presentations, they're going to do it. So I don't know. It'd be tough. I wish a lot of days I wish I was 10 years older. Obviously, you don't want to wish your life away, but man, I wish it was 10 years from now. I'd be a lot more comfortable. I'd be like, you know what? It's time to just retire. It's time to pack it in. I'll sack some groceries for some money to pay my water bill and stuff. That's what I would do. I don't know. Because if I was 10 years younger, I don't know what I'd be doing for an industry. I don't know. It's a long story, but getting off on a soapbox tangent here. But long story short, Ryan Ting is one of the good guys. I've met him multiple times. Super nice guy to me. Always nice. Always great conversation. He will still be at San Diego Comic-Con, apparently part of a panel. Can't wait to see him there. Hope the best for him. It'll be interesting if he stays in the toy industry. So we'll stay tuned to all that, but sad times for sure. It's never good when anybody has job losses, eliminations, and stuff. And like I said, I talk about it more on my podcast this week. It's been one of those weeks. And as my dog Ace keeps hitting my camera, if there's a little shakiness, Ace, why don't you come over here? He's wagging his tail over there. Him and that tail, oh my gosh. Don't get me started. And don't get me started on Big Bad Toy Store. The time has finally come. Kind of, Todd, kind of. We'll get there. Big Bad Toy Store, Big Bad Workshop announced at Joe Fest last week. They finally showed off Bulletproof from Cops toy line action figures. Now, last year they showed off the grayscale renderings. It took them a full year to get the prototype, and apparently it's going to take them another year and a half to get it in our hands over there at Big Bad Toy Store. So I hope I'm alive to see Cops figures. And I've told the story in the past. Cops was the toy line I always wanted to collect as a kid, where my dad said, no, we're not doing it. You got He-Man. You got G.I. Joe. You got wrestling. You got Marvel figures. You got all this other stuff. We're not starting another toy line. So I had to admire Cops from afar. In second grade, I used to write Cops fan fiction in my writing class at elementary school. I need to find those stories, and we're going to read them here on there. That's what we're going to do. Reading time with Kyle and his stories. But I used to write stories, and it was kind of a mixture of RoboCop and Cops is what I did. I kind of made my own world between those two. And it was riveting fiction. I should take this, Todd. Maybe you could color it and we could be off to the races. We'll see what happens there. But I've always wanted Cops figures. I want them in the G.I. Joe classified scale. And apparently the time is now, or it's the end of next year, apparently. And we're going to get Bulletproof. And then we'll probably have to wait 6 months for somebody else. I don't know what's going to happen. I hope I'm still alive by the time these come out. But I do know there is some uncertainty here with trademarks and everything else going on. So we might want to not get too excited about all this. There could be some lawsuits going on or some cancellations. I don't know what's going to happen. But man, oh man, I want Cops figures. Ugh. We'll see. But looks good for what it is. I will say that. Moving on to another collection I had as a little kid that I didn't mention earlier. Mask, of course, beautiful. Rocky Dennis action figures, sweep of the nation, of course, as we do know. I always said, man, what is that crazy thing? And my dad said he had a kid in his school when he was in elementary that looked just like Rocky Dennis. He had the same kind of disease. And like, I think my dad said his like head blew up in class one day. I think he was pulling my leg though. I think he was, but that's where I need to get my dad on the podcast to get these riveting conversations out of him. But no, not that mask. Oh, I thought it was that mask. Okay. Oh, it's that mask. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm back on track now. Mask is coming, and it is Big Bad Toy Store exclusive, and we're going to get a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive this year, but apparently you're going to buy it at Big Bad Toy Store. I don't know, but it is the iconic Rhino. I'll never forget. I was a little kid at Kmart. My grandparents bought me for this. I always stayed with them for 2 weeks in the summertime, and they bought the Rhino for me, and I got Matt Tracker, of course, and the Hawk. I got that the same day, but that Rhino, oh baby, that thing was an all-timer. And I want to collect these mass figures, but I think my little collecting days are over. I don't know. We'll see what ends up happening, but I just don't see me collecting mass figures. But I'll admire from afar, and I'll ogle them where it's really uneasy, where my wife's going to have to elbow me and say, Kyle, what are you doing? What are you doing? She's going to have to do that. And she doesn't usually care ever, but if I ogle some masks, some Rhino a little too long, she definitely will. But it is a repaint. We will get the regular edition. But if you're after mass figures coming in hot, going to be interested to see where those go, especially at the price point. It sounds like these are going to be extremely expensive. I don't know. We'll have to stay tuned to that. But going from extremely expensive to a little bit lighter on the wallet, one of those beautiful ancillary collections, it is, of course, the Simpsons line from Jakks. 5-inch style is what we cover here on the channel. Troy McClure, Bart Hockey Edition, like a young Wayne Gretzky, or maybe a young Bob Probert. Could it be Bob Probert? Steve Yzerman, yeah, it could be him. It could be him. Jeremy Roenick. Oh, Todd, you want to go all day? You want to go Grant Fuhrer? Oh, Martin Brodeur. Okay. I see where you're going here. We'll stop it right there. But we can go if we had to. We'll go tit for tat, Todd. But we do got Bart with hockey. We got Edna Crabapple, if you will. And we got Grandpa Simpson, a key one as well. So the Simpsons line continues a nice, cheap ancillary collection you don't got to get too worked up about, or do you, as we've talked about on the channel before. I talked about it with Series 1. I feel like there's too many peg warmers from Series 1 that's caused confusion and caused distribution issues for the further series. And we are seeing that right now. Walmart's just stuck with a lot of peg warmers, a lot of people missing some of the waves, causing them to drop out. So damned if you do, damned if you don't situation there with the Simpsons line. But very excited for those figures there. And very excited to see, apparently next week, we're going to get an announcement from, of course, our friends over there at Mythic Legions. They're going to announce the new Mythic Legions wave. Another expensive company, as we do know. Where's my dragon? It's too soon to say that. But we got a lot of figures from them coming all the time. Infinite Legions, Figure Obscura, Cosmic Legions, Mythic Legions, all points in between. They want your money just like everybody else. And there's only so much money to go around. We'll see where this new Mythic Legions wave goes. But it's one of those ones, they're probably going to announce the pre-order here in about a week or so. And unfortunately, pre-order window, that month of July where I said everything's so expensive, going to be very rough. But they won't ship until a year later. Now, that's where I say, and I plug the sponsor of this video, jaystoysandgames.com. They're living that Legion life over there. They love the Mythic Legions. I've been in the Legion room in the warehouse. I've seen it. They buy all this stuff. So if you don't want to pin your money down, you can wait a year. Of course, other companies will have them, but Jay's always buys in a lot of those. You use discount code Kyle, you save yourself 15%. You got to get a deal out there. So living that Legion life, I guess we'll see more of that come next week here on the channel. As I said, there's a lot of news going on this week. This is way too long of a video. This is almost like podcast style is what this one should be right here. We're talking Transformers. We're throwing the whole kit and caboodle out this week, Todd McFarlane. Transformers this week, and I'm going to tell you about Sly Kyle here. Megatron announced. I never got the Studio 86 Transformers Optimus Prime. I need to go find the iconic one. I don't know if it's that one with the... I don't know. I got to ask good friend of the channel, Gage Octane, Midwest professional wrestling legend, Transformers expert, and we'll get into that in the podcast. I'm going to say, what Optimus do I need to go with this Megatron? Gage Octane, he'll tell me, he'll set me straight. I'm going to put that down for that podcast episode. So Megatron is coming. It's a must-have. But then they finally announced the re-release of Grimlock, different packaging, same figure, same everything, coming back out with the $60 price point. So now longtime viewers of the channel know I've bought all those Dinobots from Studio 86. I have not unboxed any of them. They're all just sitting there in package. I'm waiting to just have an afternoon where I unbox them all. And then 24 hours later, I barely got one transformed is what's going to happen. But Grimlock coming back out there, and I said, oh no, I have that Grimlock. And he's going for like $200 and some on eBay. So I immediately, after that announcement, I took a picture, put them on eBay, and I even went under because they were around $200. I said, I'll put it down for $170, and somebody bought it within like 5 minutes. So I went, whew, one of those, and I put my pre-order in for the one coming. So got to get a deal. It's an expensive hobby. Might as well. I wasn't keeping it in package. I wasn't doing anything like that. That's going to help fund some of these other purchases. San Diego Comic-Con trip, things like Stray Kids concerts. I got money coming all out of me every single way. Everybody's in my wallet these days. So I did get a little relief there. So that's the pro tip there, I guess, if you got that one, because not everybody knew the news by then. So I got it out off my plate, and hopefully I get the other Grimlock here in the future. But that's a little Transformers talk. We'll save a little bit more of that for the podcast in the weeks to come with good friend Gage Octane, of course. But we're not done. More toy news this week. Now we turn to NECA. NECA, we did see the return of those no good Ben Cooper kids. Get off my yard, Ben Cooper kids. And my yard's slowly dying. We're in a water ban here where I live. You can't water the grass. It's unfortunate times. Maybe I wasn't going to water it. Maybe I was, and I'll never know. But NECA, Ben Cooper kids, Pee Wee Herman, Predator, Alf, and Garfield. A better Four Horsemen, I can't imagine. But those ones are the next round from the Ben Cooper kids. And I have to imagine we'll see more rounds here at San Diego Comic-Con in a couple of weeks. So if you're looking for those Ben Cooper kids, that's your next round coming. But we're not done with NECA. Finally, I think, didn't we hear about this or something last year at San Diego Comic-Con? But the time is finally now. It's time for Terrifier. NECA Terrifier figures. The first one, of course, Art the Clown, coming in hot. And man, he's loaded for bear. All kinds of weapons. You got that iconic garbage sack. I don't know if those are extra heads or faceplates. I'm assuming heads, not faceplates, but they look like faceplates in the picture. But we do got NECA Terrifier. That's a must-have for me. Probably you. If they're smart, that would ship around Halloween. That's the time to ship that stuff. So we'll see what happens there. And now, last but certainly not least, my boy from the couch, Todd McFarlane, takes center stage. Not a ton of news this week, but he's been pretty busy the last couple of weeks. The ups and downs of McFarlane life, and of course, San Diego Comic-Con on the clock. Can't wait to see Todd there. Can't wait to see the setup. Can't wait to see the little brunch dinner thing he's got going on. We'll talk about it in the future, of course. But he did solicit officially Superboy and Wonder Woman from the Page Punchers. Those coming up for pre-order right away. So be on the lookout for those. Have to imagine both those will go pretty quick. We also saw a 2-pack Batman Who Laughs and Merciless. Now, I believe over there, I have the, isn't the Merciless, wasn't he a Build-A-Figure once upon a time? Different color combination? Maybe I'm dreaming. Maybe I'm getting stuff confused, but I do got to open that old set. But we do got that one coming soon. Another 2-pack from McFarlane, probably like a $70 price point. We know how Todd does. We know how you do over there, Todd. We also saw GameStop exclusive Robin from the Batman movie. Was it Batman Forever? Frozen edition. So we're getting all these Frozen edition figures to go along with Mr. Freeze. Is what it is. Long game, clearance game, possibly at best for me on that one. Maybe if I'm in a GameStop, I see it on clearance. I got my $5 coupon. I might jump in on something like that. We'll see what happens there. And then we did see something very interesting from Todd McFarlane here. He's diving. He's dipping those toes. And those toes, I can't even say my own jokes. Those toes looking extra moist this week. You've been lotioning those? Really looks like it. It looks like you and my wife been going to the pedicure place is what it looks like again. But we are seeing Batman and Superman ×2 coming as a Ross exclusive. They look basically like dumbed down packaging editions of figures we had in the past. And my gut tells me we're going to see more and more re-releases from McFarlane as time goes on over the next year. I have to imagine he's going to get the most out of all the molds, going to get the most out of all the expensive figures, getting those back out there, and getting us some key characters before the line is done. But now we're seeing Ross exclusive figures. Very interesting, but a lot of people, a lot of collectors putting Ross on their hunt list. So makes sense, and maybe this will be the start of other companies doing more Ross exclusives. Maybe we'll see Transformers over there, maybe G.I. Joe. We'll see what ends up happening. So it's an interesting avenue to see. So there it is, though. That is an oversized toy news. Almost an hour, it feels like. I feel like I've been here 10 hours today. And I did just literally drive back into town after 6 hours on the road, up all night. I was in the public transportation system of Chicago. I had to park in a parking garage right by my old office, which was fun. I was like, oh, yeah, many an hour spending that top floor of that office. But I parked there, had to pay the money, had to get on the train, had to get the card, and, you know, had to get a card for everybody in the family. We took the train for like 40 minutes, and then we got off the train, and then we had to get on the bus, and we rode the bus. We rode the bus, old school style. I got thrown off my local bus, and I was told I could never ride the bus ever again. That was in 9th grade was when that happened for me. I got in a fight on the bus. And maybe that's a good story for the podcast in the future, but I got kicked off. So I don't know if I've been on a bus since then. So I get on the Chicago bus, and it took literally an hour with all the traffic to get to Wrigley Field. Get off Wrigley Field. It's a madhouse. It's a zoo. It's a 100-degree heat index. Had to check into Wrigley. Had to find our seats. And then these stray kids, they played for like 3 hours. It's an all-timer. But I made it. I'm back home. I got back to our hotel at like 12:30. Finally got something to eat after not eating for like 15 hours. Slept for like 4 hours, then got on the road. It was a wild scene. A wild, wild scene. But we made it. We survived. And that's all you can ask in this day and age, I guess. But I'm going to ask you guys something. Yeah, you sitting on the couch. I'm going to ask you, what are your thoughts this week on the toy news? Anything you want, anything you're looking about, anything excites you, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video. It's the least you can do. Also, while you're at it, subscribe to the channel. Let's get to 100,000. It might take us 10 years, but let's get to 100,000. Help me out. Come on. Be a good brother and a good sister out there. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to my other channel while you're at it. Check out Patreon, YouTube channel memberships for all kinds of bonus stuff, early access, Q&As, giveaways. It's all over there. A lot going on every single day. And of course, SirPaul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, and TheKylePetersonShow at gmail.com. As you know, my podcast available each and every Tuesday, wherever audio podcasts are found, with video cast on YouTube. So now, you know what I'm doing. I'm rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling my way into another weekend.
Well, are we gonna dance or are we gonna play?